Welcome everyone. It's my first video for 2024, so it's the perfect time to start a new series of doll creations. For the longest time, I've been wanting to make 12 dolls representing the Zodiac signs. But I know this isn't the most original idea. So many incredible doll artists have already explored this concept, most recently with the incredible Enchantarium sisters giving their spin on the theme, and so I wanted to ensure I had my own unique approach. I've always been obsessed with folklore, fairy tales, and high fantasy art, and any kind of media that comes along with those ideas. So when I realized there were about a dozen core classes to choose from when creating a Dungeons & Dragons character, my brain started ticking over. So I'm really happy to be sharing my first Zodiac sign / Dungeons & Dragons crossover doll with you all today. As this is the first episode of what will be a very long series, I wanted to start by being very clear. I love and respect both astrology and Dungeons & Dragons lore, and I'll be taking so much inspiration from both places. But at the end of the day, I am making an original character, so I might drift away from some of the things you might expect, and that's okay. I hope I surprise you in lovely ways. I prep the doll completely as usual, removing her factory makeup and hair and shrinking her head using acetone. This face-up process is very usual for me. I use my watercolor pencils over many layers, with Mr. Super Clear UV cut spray varnish to seal each individual layer. I also use my chalk pastels to give a soft flush to the face. So, the first zodiac sign I am putting my spin on is Aquarius, known for being intelligent and unpredictable, and I thought the perfect class to match this with was the Wizard. Aquarians are one of the most quick-witted signs, and they enjoy being mentally stimulated. Paired with their deep analytical thinking, this makes them a great candidate for the Wizard class. Wizards gain their magical skills through intense study and practice that allows them to learn a wide variety of different spells, so already very in line with the Aquarians' strengths. Wizards use their high intelligence to cast spells and are always seeking out new spells to learn and master as they fill up their spellbooks. Aquarius is a fixed air sign ruled under Uranus, and thanks to Uranus's influence, Aquarians are rebellious and fight against the status quo. In addition, they are very cerebral, as well as being adaptable and multi-talented. Aquarians are eccentric, intellectual, and above all else independent, much like the Wizards, who usually stand out from the crowd because of their gift. For my creation, I imagined a character who had a strong affinity with water, obviously to tie in the idea of Aquarius being the water carrier. I picture them living in a cold, windy, coastal environment, allowing them to rug up in a big woolen cloak and wizard's cap. The color palette for this doll is all blues and golds, which I think marry the watery themes with a traditional idea of what a wizard might look like. I choose to give them dark strawberry-ish blonde hair. My original concept had platinum blonde, but I didn't think that that looked quite right with the skin tone of this Halloween doll. The hair is made by brushing out acrylic yarn. Actually, this particular yarn is an acrylic wool mix, which I was a bit nervous about because I've never used before, but I knew I did want a kind of frizzy, disheveled look anyway, so I think the mixed textures worked in my favour. At the end of working on this character, I decided to give them very tight curls, but I had already gotten them dressed and attached their hat, so the curling process was quite tricky and fiddly, so I ended up doing it off camera. The first piece of clothing I make is an iconic wizard's cap. I choose to make it out of this navy woolen fabric. It's actually a sleeve of an old green jumper, which I dyed to be the perfect deep blue. I'm trying not to buy any new fabric these days, as I already have quite a big stash, so if I can recolor or repurpose anything, I try to do that. The pattern for this cap is quite straightforward. I make a cone from a triangular piece and attach that to a round piece which will be the brim of the hat. Making the cloak is extremely simple. I just have a rectangle that I cut out quite carefully to have clean straight edges, and then I use my zigzag scissors on the edge that won't be seen. The only other thing the cloak needs is a little gold closure, with some brown leather straps which I age with acrylic paints. I imagine this character living at the seaside and spending lots of time in the water, so I decide to give them shorts, a practical choice to avoid soggy ankles. I cut the pattern out of a chocolate brown fabric, which I also dyed myself to be the correct colour. I then mix bronze pigment with acrylic medium to make my own bronze paint, and I add little 6-point stars all over the pattern pieces. I think this little design is perfect for a wizardy character, and even more perfect for a Zodiac-inspired wizard. I then hand sew all the pattern pieces together and the shorts are done. All that's left for them is to add a brown belt. To emphasize that cold weather feeling and counteract the kind of summery vibes of the shorts, I wanted to create a lovely woolly scarf. I have crocheted mini scarves for dolls in the past, but crocheting is definitely not one of my strengths and they always end up a little bit wonky. So I decided this time to weave together yarn as if I was making a giant friendship bracelet. This was also the perfect technique as it made it super easy to add a diagonal stripe pattern, which I think ties the look together. These little boots are my favourite factory shoes from the Monster High line. I really have to stop myself from using them for every single one of my custom dolls. I give them 2 coats of a medium brown paint, and then give them a worn look by brushing on a light brown with a toothbrush, and then dabbing a dark brown wash into all of the crevices. The last step for the shoes is painting the little rivets bronze. Of course, this water carrier needs something to carry their water in. I sculpted this jug design myself on Blender, and I really wanted to test out 3D printing it in clear resin to get a glass-like effect. However, I think my resin isn't high quality enough, as no matter how many times I tried, or how many different methods I used to get a high gloss finish, the jug always had some cloudy stripes through it. If anyone has any advice, please leave it in the comments below. I decided to pivot and go for a ceramic look, and I'm actually really glad I did because the final look is quite beautiful in my opinion. I add a lot of texture to the jug by painting 2 coats of paint mixed with bicarb soda, and then I paint 3 layers of a blue wash. I purposefully use a wash and not regular paint in order to emphasize the texture as much as possible. I use a purple watercolor paint with a light blue metallic shift to add the kind of magical effect you get by firing certain ceramic glazes. And once I give the jug a coat of gloss varnish and paint the handles gold, it's all done. The second 3D printed element I wanted to incorporate are these mini seashells. I just thought adding this motif would really help contextualize the design elements of the character and really help you imagine them in that seaside environment. After giving them a priming coat of cream paint, I split the batch into halves, and the first half receive a brown wash and the other half receive a purpley blue wash. Once the washes have dried, the shells get dry brushed in pure white to further bring out all of the sculpted details. Off camera, I make a very simple white shirt, and with that, all the elements are ready to be put together with some extra pieces of rope and chains and little trinkety bits. Since I don't post too often, I'm really fighting the algorithm, so please make sure to like the video if you like it, and leave a comment below. I read every single comment, and any engagement really helps my channel's reach. Thank you so much for watching, your support means so much to me. So without further ado, I present my first Zodiac doll, Aquarius, the Wizard. I hope you love them. Please let me know what you think of this doll and what you'd like to see from this channel in the future. Subscribe if you want to see any more of my content, and I'll see you next time. Have an awesome day.